my good friend.
Mate, I thought this is going to be such a nice introduction. You normally give me like such a, held in such high esteem, but no, you have to put the boot in. But apart from that, mate, very well. How are you?
Everything's good, my friend. Everything is good. All good. Can't complain. Very much looking forward to this match tomorrow against Newcastle. And we're going to start off by going chronologically through every game. You guys have watched this show before. You know how it goes. Normally it's Abby and Flex, but today you've got myself and Matt Cooper, who I was joking about before. I'm actually very happy that he's back on DR Sports. That's where we met. Probably like 18 months ago, 2 years ago now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 18 months ago now.
So listen, it's great to have you back on, and hopefully we'll get you on the Saturday Football Show down in the studio very soon as well.
Absolutely.
But I know that you have the knowledge, my friend. So I'm looking to lean on you today for some stats, figures, and predictions as well. Big up to everyone in the comments already. Right. As I said, chronologically, if you don't know what chronologically means, it means that we go through each game as in time order. So that's, if you didn't know, I thought I'd tell you. Right, Matty, Newcastle versus Liverpool tomorrow, 12:30. Myself and the other Matty will be watching that one on DR Sports. We're doing a watch along for that streams into the DR Saturday Football Show. But Matt, Newcastle are winless in 10 Premier League meetings against Liverpool, drawn 4, lost 6 since a 2-0 victory back in December 2015. I believe it was a Martin Skrtel goal and a goal from Gini Wijnaldum, who obviously did join Liverpool. Just one of the 53 Premier League meetings between these two sides has been 0-0. Of all fixtures to have been played at least 40 times in the competition, only Newcastle v Spurs has finished goalless on fewer occasions. So we're going to see goals in this one, Matty. The last stat for you, Liverpool have taken 37 points from their last available 13 points. Keeping 10 clean sheets in that run. The Reds have only dropped points against Man City in this run. Another fact for you, though, Matt, Newcastle 6 unbeaten at St James's Park. Their best record, best stretch since Bobby Robson, God rest his soul, was around. They're going to look to break that record tomorrow. They're looking for 7 wins in a row. Sum it up for me from both sides, because Liverpool obviously on the back of a massive semi-final first leg, but Newcastle flying as well. The 4 teams in the Premier League so far in 2022. How do you see this one going?
I think if you're any team in the Premier League at the minute, you do not want to be facing Newcastle United, because the job that Eddie Howe has done, yes, have spent money.
Unbelievable.
All teams spend money. They've got the 100 million. You know, a lot. You see with Everton, you can spend 100 million not very wisely. Whereas Newcastle have, and like I said, if you're any team in the Premier League this season, you don't want to play Newcastle. However, we are talking about a Liverpool side who I think will not drop points for the rest of the season, and that means in Europe as well. I think you'll go on to win the Champions League. I think you'll go on to win the FA Cup. But I think City will win the league because it's in their hands. But I can't see anything apart from a Liverpool win, and that doesn't take anything away from Newcastle, that they beat my team Wolves a few weeks ago fairly convincingly. What the job that Eddie Howe has done there has been miraculous. But for me, I just can't look past the Liverpool win, and I'd say that about them playing anyone at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, you're spot on there. I think, like you said, you don't want to be playing Newcastle at the minute, especially at home. But Liverpool obviously buoyant after the news yesterday. Our hero, our German Scouse adopted dad that we've all taken on in our lives, has actually signed a 2-year contract extension that takes him up to 2026, which is actually 10 years since he joined. It would be 11 years actually since he joined. I mean, how big a news is this for Liverpool?
Huge news. And judging by Twitter, it all seemed to happen quite quickly. There was a few murmurs in the morning that was close to being agreed, and in the afternoon, obviously, the press release came out and that the video came out. He's a cult hero, isn't he, in Liverpool? You can tell us more so than me. The job he's done, it is absolutely wonderful, and he's firmly cemented himself as a Liverpool legend. If he goes on to win this quadruple, which I don't think they will, purely because of City in the league, then we've got to be saying that this is the best team of all time. We have to say it.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you mentioned there that you think Liverpool will still go on to win 3 trophies this season, which again would be an incredible achievement. But if we do go on to win the quadruple, and I've said this since it's kind of been a thing that people talk about, then I agree with you, bro. We have to be then considered as the greatest football team ever from at least this country. I mean, there's debates with the Barcelona '09 team. You could throw in Milan side of the mid noughties. But if Liverpool do win this quad, and Rio Ferdinand said it on BT Sport the other night, it really would be an achievement that is just way beyond anything else ever achieved. But listen, a long way to go. Big up to everyone in the comments. Liverpool to win 2-0, says T-Boys TV. Liverpool keep up the run. Klopp, what a guy. Matthew saying, who is this jacked up Aaron Ramsdale?
I always get called Aaron Ramsdale.
That's a good one, to be fair.
Yeah, to be fair,
Big
I used
up,
to get... I think, though, with all this talk of the quadruple, Pep will be loving it, and we'll come on to City in a minute. But Pep will be loving it because it's taking all the pressure off them. All you hear is Liverpool quadruple, going to be the greatest team ever. Pep is rubbing his hands together, thinking the pressure is off my team. And listen, they're a wonderful team anyway, so they probably are going to go on and win the league purely because it's in their hands. But I don't really hear much about City. It's all Liverpool, and they're two of the best teams in Europe. You've got you two, and then you've got Benzema. I'm not classing Real Madrid. I'm classing you've got you two and Benzema. They're the top three.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. Let us know in the comments as well what you think the score is going to be on Saturday. And if it does, like I said, maybe in a year or two at City, is that almost, I wouldn't say a walk in the park, that's disrespectful, but do you think if Pep leaves City then and Klopp stays, do you think it's a nail on that Liverpool would win the league if Pep wasn't there?
I think they definitely got more chance. For me, Pep is the manager of this generation, just purely with the style of play. Again, not taking anything away from Liverpool and Klopp. It's just the style I prefer and what he's done and whatnot. I think if you take Pep out of Manchester, then City have got a massive rebuild job. But I think he'll stay. I think until they win the Champions League, and listen, that could be this season, I think he'll stay. He seems to be quite settled, and that's not always been the case where he's previously been. I know that he gets quite a lot of say on transfers and stuff, whereas previously that's not been the case. So he seems really settled, and it's fantastic for the league to have such high caliber managers, Klopp, Conte, and Guardiola in there. And this rivalry between Liverpool and Man City, it's not a rivalry like United and Liverpool where it's based on pure hatred. It's almost based on we're just two really, really good sides. And I think we need to keep that in the league.
Yeah. Big up to Abdullah for the question here. Does Liverpool playing a hard-fought win on Wednesday night affect this game at all? I mean, you saw, and me and Matty were joking about this yesterday on the Prediction Battle Show, but you saw Klopp did put a request in to get this game moved to at least a 5:30 on a Saturday. Because when you consider it, obviously we played Wednesday night full-time around 10 o'clock. In training the next day, Thursday, that's 1 day's training. And then if you're playing Newcastle on a 12:30 on a Saturday, you've got to be up there Friday afternoon, settling down in the hotel, maybe do a session. But I mean, listen, there's not much time for Liverpool to prepare for this at all. But it's a poison chalice because we've played every single game so far that's been available to us this season in every competition. So naturally, that's why you have a bigger squad, so you can make changes and bring in fresh legs. But do you think this will affect Liverpool, considering that they've been doing this really for the last 3 or 4 years?
No, I don't think so. And I think the game on Wednesday night, yes, it was hard fought, but for me, watching the game, it looked like a walk in the park.
It didn't feel like that in the stadium, though, bro.
Yeah, but you're a Liverpool fan, aren't you? I'm watching it as a neutral. You're going to be biting your fingernails on the edge of your seat. Whereas as a neutral, I remember texting my mate saying, "This is just boring to watch because it's just one-way traffic. Like you want a bit of competitiveness in the game as a neutral, don't you?" And it was, but it was everything that went forward. Like Van Dijk was mopping it up, and I'm like, this is like it's like watching an adults team versus under 11s. It was frustrating from a neutral point of view, but I don't think it'll affect them at all. When you're winning games on the form that you're involved in all competitions still, you want to be playing games. You want the games to come thick and fast. So I think if anything, mate, this Liverpool squad will be relishing the opportunity. And now this season, they've got the depth to rotate. I mean, just look at the front three. You can take the front three who started on Wednesday out and put another front three and still probably win the game comfortably. So.
Right, let's get into a score prediction then. As we said, this one live on DR Sports tomorrow. Myself and Matty Renton watching it. So definitely tune in for that one. It's going to be a belter. Let's get your prediction first. I want to hear you.
2-0 Liverpool.
2-0 Liverpool, which has actually been a popular score for the Reds this season. I'm going to go with 3-1. It's one of those games I feel that, we might score first. and then they're going to equalise. And then up until the 65th, 70th minute, it's squeaky bum time for Reds. But then I do think we'll score, and then maybe a little breakaway one right at the end. So I'm going 3-1 Liverpool, massive away win to take us back to the top of the... I shouldn't say us. Take Liverpool back to the top of the Premier League on Saturday lunchtime. Right, let's get into the next one. Aston Villa versus Norwich. Aston Villa have won 7 of their last 8 games against Norwich. The last defeat was in 2015. Since winning their first Premier League away game against Villa in November 1992 in the Premier League, Norwich are winless in the last 8 top-flight visits to Villa Park, drawing 3, losing 5. Very, very bad record that for Norwich away at Villa. Norwich have the fewest shots on target, the lowest shot conversion rate, and lowest expected goals in the Premier League so far this season. But let's not forget, Norwich boss Dean Smith knows all too well the Aston Villa squad. Do you think that is going to have any impact on the game on Saturday, Matt?
I think it'll have a little bit of impact. Like you said, he knows the squad inside out, and I think it's quite telling as to what Dean Smith thinks of his sacking from Villa, that he's refusing to comment this week on the job that Stephen Gerrard has done at Aston Villa, which is another big talking point in itself, Alex, because the bloke's coming after a wonderful spell at Rangers, got quite a few close friends who are Rangers fans, and they were absolutely gutted that he went, and he's come in at Villa, and yes, they're not his players, but for me, he's not really set the world alight. He's come in, they had a good run of form, but they seem to be, and it's a phrase that we're probably going to use quite a lot in this preview, mate, is they're a bit on the beach. But Dino will have a bit of an edge, but I don't think it really matters. Aston Villa were one of the poorest teams I've seen this season at Molineux a few weeks ago now. They got back into the game late on, but their first half display, I couldn't believe how poor they were. And obviously Norwich aren't a great team, so I don't think it's going to be a thriller.
Might not be a thriller at the Villa, but Stevie G does need a win, and like you said, his form has been slightly inconsistent. It was almost as if he started really well that new month into poor, then really good again, and poor, and now we're kind of just floating in that no man's land, really, at the end of the Premier League season. As you said, a lot of teams on the beach. But
yeah, I think as well. Go on, mate.
Sorry, go on.
I think as well, Coutinho came in who looked like a really inspired signing. Teams have almost learned how to play against him now and what to do to try and nullify his threat. I've seen quite a few Villa fans, obviously living where I live in Birmingham. Quite a few Villa fans were saying, "Let Coutinho go back to Barcelona. Buendia is the better player. He creates more chances." Where I think if you'd have asked them that in February, they would have scoffed at that opinion. But also, I'm seeing quite a few fans, and listening. You always see kind of corners on Twitter. Twitter is an echo chamber anyway of people saying, "Well, Stevie G's not done a better job than Dean Smith. He needs to go in the summer." But this is football, mate. Football fans are fickle, so we all know that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, those kind of shouts, I have heard them myself. But if you're a Villa fan, you haven't got Steven Gerrard in to last from, what was it, January to May. This is a 3 to 4 year appointment. Yeah. And especially when you consider the signing of Klopp, this means that Gerrard's probably in this role now for a good 4 years if everything goes to plan. But do you agree with the fact that, listen, he needs a pre-season, he needs to really get his squad together because he's joined halfway through, obviously he has managed to bring a couple of massive names in, but he does need a pre-season and a good go at this for 1 year at least before we start making shouts like that, surely?
Yeah, absolutely. I say that about all managers. They've got to have a pre-season and bring in the players that they want, and that's one thing that he will get at Villa. Christian Purslow seems to really back the managers, and you've seen that in January. I mean, brought in Coutinho, Luca Dean. He's really backed him, and I expect them to spend quite big in the summer too. I think that's when you can make your judgment after one season where he's got a pre-season and his players in. He's even said in his post-match press conferences quite frustratingly that I'll try my best to coach these players to what I want to do, and then if not, then we'll bring new ones in. And I think that's what we're going to have to do.
Score prediction for this one?
1-1.
1-1. It does have a 1-1 written all over it, but I am going to go for a slim Villa win. I'm going to go with 2-1 the Villa. And I'm backing my old mate, Felipe Coutinho, to come back and do some bits against the Canaries. Let us know in the comments if you agree with that score prediction. Let's move on. Let's go to the South Coast. Southampton versus Crystal Palace. Southampton won 56% of their 25 Premier League games against Palace. Winning 14, drawing 7, losing 4. Of all sides they faced at least 10 times, that they've never had a higher record than this. So a very good fixture for Southampton if you look at the stats. Palace have opened the scoring in 5 of the last 6 Premier League games against Southampton. However, the Eagles have gone on to win just 1 of 5 out of those games. James Ward-Prowse, the absolute hero in Southampton that is carrying that team on his back right now. He has scored more goals from outside the box than any other player in the Premier League this season. That's 5. Only Matt Letizia, also Southampton, has ever netted more in a single season for the Saints outside the box. And he got 8 of those goals outside the box in 95. Again, 2 teams that, if you look at the overall season, especially Southampton, it's been a little bit disappointing. Palace were getting all the plaudits, and they still are under Big Pat Vieira. But again, this is another one that's got the word beach written all over it, doesn't it?
It does, and I think Southampton are such an inconsistent side. You know that one day they'll turn up and lose to Norwich, and the next day they'll go and beat Arsenal. So they're really inconsistent. Big kind of a massive blow for them this week with Livramento out for foreseeable future with an ACL, which is a big loss for them. But it honestly, it all depends what Southampton turns up. On the other hand, Palace, I have been extremely impressed with the job that Vieira's done at Palace. They look a completely different team as they did under Hodgson last season. And I think people underestimate the job he's done because he had to overhaul that squad in the summer. There were so many players out of contract. It was a complete overhaul, and they've hit the ground running. And every time I've watched them, they've been impressed. I don't think that, you know, you always similar with Brighton. You always get the shout. So can they make Europe? I don't think they're at that level, but it's a dramatic improvement on last season. And you know, we've got some really good young talent there. Elise, Eze, obviously Zaha's getting on a bit now, but looks to be settled at Palace. I don't think he'll move now. Yeah. And Gallagher's been a revelation. I think Palace's main problem they're going to have in the summer is keeping Gallagher, because he may go back to Chelsea and play there. But been really impressed by Palace. But I'm expecting a tight game.
Yeah, I'm expecting a draw in this one, in all honesty. I'll go for 1-1. Again, nothing to play for really for these 2 teams. Let us know in the comments what you think the score is going to be. T-Boy is going for a 3-1 win. Been shaky ever since the semi-final, Palace, says T-Boy. And then big up to Cassie, who says, big up this guy for bringing back the curtains, dude. Single-handedly carrying the curtains on his back.
I did, mate. I'm the first one to bring them back, mate. And I've seen quite a few people start donning them now. So perhaps that's me. They wear it a lot better than me, though, I must admit.
Listen, it's like, you know, being in a time vault to 1998. It's beautiful, man. I love it.
This is Beckham circa 2000, this, mate.
Right, another big game in the Premier League for Burnley. Can they escape the drop and stay in the Premier League? What a turnaround this would be, by the way, if they do stay up. But they're, of course, playing a team, and they probably couldn't have picked a better team to play at this moment. Watford have lost their last 9 games at home, Matt. And this is a team that is supposed to be reliant on good home form, being down there for so long. After winning their first Premier League game at home against Burnley in 2017, against Burnley in 2017, Watford are winless in the last 3 against the Clarets at Vicarage Road. So they haven't won there in the last 3. But if you look at the stats, everything here is telling you, form tells you as well, that this is going to be a win. And maybe they might just send Blues down.
I know, obviously, you've got invested interest in Everton going down as a Red. I quite like Everton. I think it's a fantastic away day as well.
Like Everton, don't you? You got a little
soft you always try and give me stick about them. Like, oh, I can't wait to send them down. But I genuinely don't want them to go down. But
do you know what? I didn't until they started smashing up the toilets and singing all kinds of horrible songs on Wednesday or whenever it was, Sunday night. So I was all for them staying up, mate.
But yeah, but you pair love it, don't you? You love point scoring against each other. You love it.
Yeah, well. I'll give you a little one. So I was walking up this street to pick up my ticket off my cousin around Anfield, but it was actually near the Anfield Road end. So I wasn't happy with my cousin for drinking at that end. on Derby Day anyway. And I'm walking up this road. I see this massive billow of blue smoke, and I'm like, "Whoa! I am not walking up there." So I started taking a few steps back, and then about 300 of them, all like police there and everything, all giving it the big one to me. There's about 300 of them, to be fair. So yeah, wasn't the best or the most popular.
You'd have had them on your own, though, wouldn't you, mate? You'd have sorted them right out.
300 of them. I'm not too sure about that, mate. Yeah,
200.
Oh, no, I'll do 50. I'll do 50. Obviously, do not promote violence on this channel, but it's just a little anecdote that I thought I'd share with you. Right, Burnley. I'm going for a Burnley win, mate. I'm going 2-0 away. Watford hapless at home. What's your score prediction?
I was at Burnley last Sunday for the game, and they did. Yeah, I know they did a job on us. We were terrible, but they look like a team who have almost been galvanised by the sacking of Sean Dyche. We were all saying, and I'm sure you were, Alex, a few weeks ago when they sat in thinking, what on earth are they doing? But it could be an absolute masterclass by the board. Watford had done. They've been down for months. I know I said that I wasn't impressed with Villa, but Watford are the worst team I've seen this season. Honestly, like so bad. I think the pressure's on Burnley now to go and get the result. They'll drag themselves out the relegation zone, pull away from Everton a bit more. So with that in mind, I still think Burnley will win. I'm going to go 3-0 Burnley.
Oof, massive win predicted there by Matt Cooper. Right, let's talk about your team, right? And again, really inconsistent this season. We've seen some really beautiful moments at Wolves and some really impressive displays we have. But then on the other side of things, we've just seen some performances with no passion, no fight, no desire to go out and do anything. You're playing Brighton at home at the weekend, who again have been decent this season. But Wolves have won the last 2 games against Brighton, as many as they had in their previous 14 against them. They're looking to compete the league double over the Seagulls for the first time ever, Matt. And then Brighton have won each of their first 6 away league games against Wolves between the years 79 and 1991. However, since then, the Seagulls have won just 1 of 11 visits to Molineux. Not looking great, though, with 18 goals scored and 16 conceded for Wolves at home this season. No ground has seen fewer Premier League goals than the Molineux. However, half of these strikes have come in the last 5 games in the stadium. So, what's going on with Wolves?
Scoring goals is a real problem. We've had the opportunity this season. Look, we're massively overachieving, I feel anyway. But we've had the opportunity with the poor standard that's the Premier League this season to potentially push for Europe. And when we're in touching distance, a win away from overtaking West Ham, and not only a couple of months ago, we were a win away from getting in the top 4, which is like surreal as a Wolves fan.
Yeah.
We just, when it really, really matters, we just can't perform. And it's something we've seen quite a lot from this squad because it hasn't changed that much since we got promoted from the Championship. The Sevilla game in the Europa League quarter-final, we had a penalty and we ended up losing the game. At Watford in the FA Cup semi-final, you know, those games we've had some fantastic results along the way, but those games that really, really matter, the team almost crumbles. And now we're at the business end of the season and still within a chance of potentially getting the Conference League, we have honestly crumbled. And I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't get another win from now until the end of the season, and that includes playing Norwich. We've got some injuries as well. Neves is out, who's been unbelievable this season. What a player he is. Pedetti's out, who's created our most chances. Kilman's out, so you know that's the spine of the team. Jimenez isn't firing.
Why is that? As AGS says here, Jimenez has fallen off. I mean, incredible that he's back playing. That's such an emotional one there, and I know you were super invested in that. The documentary was amazing as well. But there's no doubt that he's a great player, and you don't just go bad overnight. But what's happened there? Because this is a man who was touted, and by you as well. I remember you saying this. He was the best number 9 in the league.
Yeah. On his day, I genuinely believe at the time he was. He's fallen off this season, and he's come back from horrific injury. The bloke's lucky to be alive, never mind playing football. But something's just not right. But we're also not creating a lot of chances. It's not like he's missing
on a lot of crosses, doesn't he?
It's not like he's missing sitters week in, week out. But another example of what's going wrong is the Burnley game on Sunday. He's playing a little bit out of position out on the right, but his final decision is just miles off it. And I'm not sure what it is. Fabio Silva's come in, and a lot of eyebrows are raised over £35 million for him, rightly so. Fabio Silva's come in, he's not scored, but his overall play has been so much better than Jimenez's. And I personally think that there may be a Jimenez conversation to be had in the summer. There's rumours that he may be going back to Mexico. Even Bayern Munich are looking at him. I really don't know what the problem is. I wish I could put my finger on it. But they definitely need to address the centre forward position in the summer. But like I said, we're just not creating enough chances at all. Our biggest goal threat at the minute is Johnny, the right wing back, which says a lot.
Big up Johnny. And
Yeah.
Neves obviously scored a few crackers this season as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jimenez, strange one. Do you know what? You mentioned Bayern Munich there. If Lewandowski does leave, for me, that's a shoe-in. And I don't think, with all due respect to Jimenez and massive respect to him, I feel like if he goes back to Mexico now, he's almost not really lived up to his full potential. I mean, he's still, in my opinion, because again, like I say, you don't just lose that touch. Once he gets that touch back, he could be the main man for genuinely one of the biggest clubs in Europe. I do believe he's that good. He could go on and
he will put them away.
If
he went and played for Man City,
Nunez.
Yeah, if he went and played for Man City, he'd get like 20 goals a season, create a lot of chances. He's not like I said, he's not really missed any sitters this season, but even his link-up play, which is usually outstanding, has been off the boil. And Wolves fans will back him to the hilt, rightly so. He's done wonderful things at Wolves, but you can start to see it turn a little bit now, where it's like, I don't know. There's always massive sentiment in football, isn't there?
Yeah.
And if you take away your gold and black tinted glasses, he's just not been good enough this season. And personally, I think they need to have a conversation in the summer about what they do with him. Bruno Lage seems to really rate him anyway, and he holds him in such high esteem. So
Nick Saunders scared after that head injury, understandable. I don't think it's that necessarily. It's more, like you said, the chances. AGS, I do think Adama leaving hasn't helped. He drove the team forward. He was an outlet. Do you think maybe without Adama, you're just a bit too predictable at the minute?
He definitely gives us another dimension. The bloke wasn't happy at Wolves. He wanted to leave. Wolves put a massive offer on the table for him to sign a new contract, and he turned it down. So that money isn't the motive. He wanted to go back to Barcelona. He's taking a pay cut to go back to his boyhood club, which I fully respect. But Xavi seems to be losing interest in him. There's no mandatory buy for Adama, and he's got 1 year left on his deal. To me, as the days go by, it looks like a brain dead decision to send him out, because there is no benefit for Wolves. We got a player who's unhappy, won't sign a new contract, come back with 6 months left on his deal. His value is even less. They should have just taken the money from Tottenham in the summer when they put a bid in for him. I think I love him. You know what I feel of him. He's so enigmatic and he splits opinion, but he's so exciting to watch. And for one season, when him and has linked up so well, his final ball was outstanding, but he seems to have digressed. But I do believe he's an asset for any club in the league, purely because of how direct he is.
No, listen, let us know in the comments what you think the future of Adama Traore looks like. Should he stay at Barca? Should he try and find another club? Or does he come back to Wolves and get it popping again with Raul if he's still there as well? John Daly saying, wonder if Spurs go back in for him. He would be great in the Europa League with them. Maybe
I think they will. I think they'll go back in for him. I don't think Barcelona will. I don't think Barcelona will sign Adama unless it's almost like a mate way with Wolves have been linked with Ricky Pudge, the midfielder. So unless it's a swap deal for that, I'm not sure. But I think Spurs will go in for him. But Conte wanted to deploy him as a right wing back, which Adama wasn't happy about. So we shall see. We shall see.
AGS, big up Matt with the mixed grill reviews, by the way. Quality content. That's what we love to see, bro. Beautiful stuff. Right, Leeds versus. Oh no, let's do a score prediction just from you for that Wolves one. What do you reckon?
I'm quite happy I'm not going to the game because I've got to isolate before I fly. So I'm going to go 1-0 Brighton.
Oof. Hang on. The Wolves fan, the biggest Wolves fan
Honestly,
I know.
I can't see score a goal. I cannot see him scoring a goal.
You can't see it. I mean, listen, the stats aren't kind in terms of scoring goals for Wolves this season, but Brighton at home, you think you're going to lose?
We just seem like we're void of confidence. However, what I will say is as well, if you score first against Wolves, you will win the game. From all games a team has scored first this season, we've only beaten the Villa, which is at Villa Park. Every time a team has scored against us, they've gone on to win.
Right, well, I'm going to actually go against what you've just said and go for a 2-1 Wolves win. All right,
love that, mate. I love that. You're a lot more optimistic than I have. You don't have to watch them week in, week out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll be listening and watching the reaction to that on the Saturday football show tomorrow, and I'll be thinking of you as those goals fly or don't fly in. Right, let's move on to a game now that I truly do believe, and there's a lot of wood around me, so I'm touching wood here, that this is the game that Manchester City drop points in. Let me tell you why. Both of these teams, Leeds and Manchester City, have the exact same form in the last 5 games. 1-3, drawn 2. So Manchester City are coming into this one looking to complete the first league double over Leeds since 1982, when Leeds were relegated actually from the top flight. Leeds have lost just 2 of their last 9 home games against Man City, winning 6 of them actually, and doing so in consecutive meetings in 1995 and the year 2000. De Bruyne has been involved in 8 goals in his last 6 Premier League appearances, scoring 4 and assisting 4. Some record that is, by the way, whilst teammate Mahrez has been involved in 12 in his last 9. As a Liverpool fan, I have to admit that this is the one game I am pinning my hopes on, to be honest with you. Looking for Leeds to do something, but can they, Matt?
No, sorry, mate. No, sorry. I know you're looking for glimmers of hope in Manchester City's fixtures list, but they win every game until the end of the season, myself. And I definitely don't see
We're going to lose the league by 1 point again.
Fine margins, mate. It's football, unfortunately. I can't see Leeds beating them. Jesse March has come in and almost and then ended the Bielsa love affair. I think it was the right appointment to make. Personally, he's kept them up. He's taken them away from safety, although they're not fully out of it. But this is Manchester City we're talking about here, mate. The top 2 best teams in Europe. So I cannot see anything else than like a 4-0 win. I really can't.
You've gone for 4-0. Abdullah goes for 4-1. They need some momentum going into the Bernabeu next week. Obviously, a massive game. Do you think they will make any? I mean, again, we said this about Liverpool. They don't have to make changes, really. I mean, they've got such a big squad. Is this the kind of game that you think they're going to make changes for? Or do they actually just go all out on this one?
I think you've got to just pick your best 11 at who's fit. If someone's got a niggle or isn't fit from the game the other night, then you would rest them. But if not, you go full strength. Similar to what I said with the Liverpool game. When you're winning games in the form you're in and fighting in 2 competitions, you want to be playing as a footballer. You want to be playing. So I'd say he'll go full strength, and I have no doubt that City will put a few past Leeds. Sorry, Leeds fans.
Sorry, Liverpool fans as well.
Sorry, Liverpool fans, yeah.
Big up to Carmino Pilla, who says, "Hi, Cops TV." Nice one, man. Not totally how you say it, but I appreciate the love. Leeds have got some very tough fixtures coming up. Do you think Man City will go through? That's a good question. 4-3 after the first leg. Matty, what's that second leg going to be like?
I think Real Madrid will go through. I think it'll be a Liverpool Real Madrid final, and Liverpool will take home the trophy. But City will win the league. What would you prefer, Alex, as a Liverpool fan? League or Champions League?
If City weren't in the other semi-final, I'd comfortably say the Prem, because that would mean that City don't win the Champions League. But because I find myself in the worst situation where we're chasing City and we could potentially play them in the final. Could I both? Of course I would. If you're asking me one or the other,
yeah,
then I'll take the Prem, bro. I'll take the Prem.
I thought you would.
And I'd bet them. Yeah, I'd take the Prem. I think there's more chance of us winning the Champions League over City. There is. But I'd take the Prem. Let us know in the comments, Liverpool fans, City fans, any fan. What would Liverpool want more? Would they want the Champions League or the Premier League? And are City going to take this one? Mohammed, this is the kind of comment, the kind of score that I'm going with, and I am going to say 1-1. Sorry, with my chest. You're going for a draw. City to drop points. City will beat Leeds and Madrid 2-0, says John. And obviously, T-Boys TV reminding us that if it is a Liverpool-Madrid final, we do get that chance for revenge.
I find it quite strange, mate, that supporting a team who has obviously never won the Champions League, if you said to me, do you want to win the league or the Champions League, it would be Champions League every single day of the week and twice on a Sunday. Because it's isn't it? It's But you've won it 6 times, you know that. So
You know that.
you know that.
Right, let's talk about another team in Liverpool that definitely haven't won it 6 times. It's Everton. Beautiful
Oh, come
segue
on.
that.
Come on.
No, it had to be done. Playing Chelsea, the Frank Lampard derby, really, if anything. Everton have won each of the last 3 home games against Chelsea. Can you believe it? Chelsea have also kept a clean sheet in 7 of their last Premier League games with Everton. And this is the first time Everton are playing a Premier League game when starting the day in the relegation zone since December 2019. And they won that one 3-1 at home to Chelsea. Mason Mount scored Chelsea's goal in their 1-1 draw with Everton in the reverse fixture. The last player to score home and away for the Blues against Everton was, in fact, Frank Lampard in 2005-06. I was watching that on Premier League Years the other day. He scored a couple of great finish, actually, in that white kit. He knows all about Chelsea, obviously left there towards the middle of last season. But is this a kind of game that he can really rile up the fans and the players for? Because if there's one game to get you out of the relegation zone, is it Chelsea at home that you'd want to play, considering they've won their last 3?
I don't know. I think, like you said, I think Lampard will G up the crowd. Goodison Park can be electric and toxic in equal measures. I think Tuchel will go there and say, just, don't concede in the first 20-25 minutes and the place will turn. You know what it's like. They're notorious for booing. They're notorious for getting on
That's why they're
teams'
called
back.
the Blues.
Yes.
Blues.
As an outsider, quite funny. As a toffee, you're raging. But I think Chelsea will win. But I think Everton have got more of a chance being at home. Their home form's been a lot better than their away form. But they they look like a team just void of confidence. I don't know when the next win comes from. I thought there's an inkling in. I thought that they might get a draw at Anfield because the way the game was going, it was getting longer and longer.
Nasty.
Liverpool haven't scored, and I was like, surely they can't do it. And then in quick succession, you got a couple. So it's a Chelsea win for me, man. Unfortunately, I really don't want Everton to go down, but it's looking likely at the minute, which is incredible to think about because for me they would be the biggest team to have ever gone down. I know Villa went down, but Villa at the time were flirting with relegation. There's a couple of seasons where they were in and around, whereas Everton have. All right, they've not reached the dizzy heights of 4th where they finished about 10 years ago under Moyes, but they've always been in and around 11th, 12th. But I think years of mismanagement from top to bottom, lack of direction and stability has unfortunately unravelled itself, and they're in the position they're in now.
So do you think if they do lose this one at home, and again, everyone said they've got their home games, that's how they're going to get out of trouble. But if they do lose this one, is that Everton gone?
No, not yet.
No. Okay, interesting.
I think you could go down at the last day.
Is Lampard the worst ex-pro manager? You've got Gerrard, Paddy Vieira, Arteta, and Ole have done better than Frank. That's a good question, Matt.
I don't know, like worst ex-pro manager, because obviously there's been other ex-pros who have come in to try and do a job, and like Gary Neville. I think these ex-players get an easier ride. I think he did an okay job at Derby. He relied on his connections at Chelsea. Let's not forget that Derby side had Mason Mount, he had Tamori, he had some really good players, and they failed to get promoted. The Chelsea job, I think he took too soon, but as a Chelsea legend, if that job comes up, you have to take it. I feel like he did an okay job, considering he had, he didn't have any money to spend because of the transfer embargo. But then you've seen the impact that Tuchel had when he come in, and then you kind of realise that this group of players that they had a lot more than what they were currently operating at. So I don't think he's the worst, but I do feel that these ex-players, especially English ex-players, do get a bit of an easy ride. And everything is a poison chalice. No manager wants the job. So I do feel for him in those regards, but they've got worse. They've got worse since Rafa, and Rafa was a terrible, terrible appointment.
Well, you look at this one, Ant Dicko. Rafa actually has a better win record than Lampard. I mean, one of the best moments for me this season is it happened at home and away against Everton, but I was at the game the other day, and I think when the 2 goals go in and we've won the game, we're all singing Rafa Benitez songs, mate. And that is just, Everton fans must have been sick of us singing those songs because obviously we're winding them up. But Everton, yeah. I mean, Aunt Dicko here, he says he's got a family of blues. The excuses are unreal. Think Everton go up a bit, I hope, in the Premier League, says Carmino. And Rooney would have kept this Everton side up, says John. Frank has been given the world in management, failed at Derby, Chelsea, and now Everton. I mean, the actual recruitment, if you look at the players, the managers that Everton have made in the last 2 or 3 years, it's just been atrocious. I mean, whose idea was it in the first place to bring Rafa in? And whose idea was it to bring Lampard in? We know it's Bill Kenwright, but and there is a part of me that does feel sorry for them because the way they've been mismanaged. And I'm also hearing as well that they could, be in the points as well for financial regulations. So it's just not looking good if you're an Everton fan right now.
And they've got the new stadium to pay for as well, which isn't going to be good in the Championship if they do go down. They've been mismanaged for years. I know they had the likes of Brands in as director of football, and you see a lot of the hate directed towards Mashiri as well. It's been a shambles, mate. And you may not like it, Alex, but they are a massive club. They are such a big club. They'll be such an embarrassment of riches in terms of previous accolades and trophies. And obviously not as much as you guys, but compared to a lot of clubs, they're one of the most successful clubs in England. So to have a team like that go down, plus the fact that Liverpool's a great away day anyway, I don't really want it to go down.
No, fair enough. Let us know in the comments what you think is the score there. I'm going to go with a 3-1 Chelsea win, unfortunately, for Everton. Matty?
2-0 Chelsea.
No goals at home for Everton again. Right, Tottenham, Leicester City, a decently big game, I guess. Tottenham won 7 of the last 10 games against Leicester. Leicester won this exact fixture 2-0 last season, though. And they last won consecutive away games at Spurs in October 1999. Leicester have dropped more points from winning positions in the Premier League than anyone else this season. So again, we were talking about it earlier with the Wolves. If you go 1-0 up against Leicester, you're probably going to win. Or if they go 1-0 up, you're probably going to win as well. This is Tottenham managers Conte's 100th Premier League game in charge. He's the 4th manager to reach the milestone this season after Hasenhüttl, Potter and Dean Smith. I mean, again, Tottenham are still fighting for 4th place. Leicester, as you've seen last night, hard draw at home to Roma. And I believe it was Rodgers coming up against Mourinho. And obviously, Rodgers used to be under Mourinho at Chelsea back in the day. So how's this one going to go?
Tottenham win for me, mate. Leicester have been inconsistent. They've been plagued with injuries as well, which I think a lot of people don't take into account. I think that Brendan Rodgers is a fantastic coach. I've always said that. But I think Leicester will have one eye on Rome next week. It's next week they play, isn't it? In the Conference League semi-final. I thought they did okay against Roma last night. Again, typical Mourinho performance, really. But Tottenham, again, inconsistent. On the day they can knock 4 or 5 past someone, and then on the next day they can lose quite comfortably as well. But I can't look past a Tottenham winner, as that race for 4th spot really does hot up. I think as we get into the busiest end of the season, I think Tottenham will win this.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Tottenham win. Obviously, no shots at all in their last game, which was just staggering, really. But yeah, I'm going for a Tottenham win just. But then again, Leicester did win here last season, looking to make it 2 in a row. So actually, I'm going to change to a draw. This one's going to be 2-2, I reckon. A cheeky Desmond. 2-2 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which still doesn't have a name. And I'm refusing from now on to call this stadium the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That is the most American thing I've ever heard. Don't like it. Tottenham fans in the comments, let us know. Or what do you want the name of the stadium to be? Maybe 3 Point Lane. Only joking. Pep Guardiola has got in touch. 4-0 to Tottenham. 1-0 Leicester as well. Spurs going to need to start sharp. Otherwise, could be another game struggling for goals. West Ham, Arsenal, Matt. This is a massive game, really, if you think about it. West Ham, though, have lost more Premier League games against Arsenal than any other side in the competition. 33 defeats to Arsenal. Craig Dawson's red card against Chelsea last time was West Ham's 28th Premier League red card in London derbies against West Ham. So that's actually more than any other side. 4 of the Hammers' last 6 red cards have been against London sides. So traditionally a fairly ill-disciplined team. Saka scored a penalty in his last 2 games, the youngest player to ever score a penalty in consecutive Premier League appearances. Very interesting. Arsenal need the points, obviously. West Ham could do with the points as well. Massive defeat for them last night at home to Frankfurt. You've seen how many Frankfurt fans were at the game. It was unbelievable. Is this got a draw written all over it because of the magnitude of this game for both teams, still fighting for places in Europe?
No, I think Arsenal win. Been looking at West Ham's results quite closely. Obviously, Wolves are vying for their place. There's not much in it between Wolves and West Ham. And very similar to Wolves, West Ham can't buy a win for love or money in the league. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think they've maybe put all their eggs in one basket with the Europa League. You know what? Rightly so. I know they lost last night, but they're 2 games away from Champions League qualification. Yeah. I've been impressed with Arsenal this season. After a shaky start, the first 3 games, I think Arteta's managed to implement his philosophy on the team. And I was extremely impressed when I went to the Emirates with Wolves this season. I know that we scored an early goal, but it was one-way traffic, and that game was only going to end one way. And you could tell the golfing class between the two. I know they've had a bit of a rocky patch recently, but I did say after that game at Emirates, I think Arsenal will get top 4. And I still think they do. And if they do, I think, what a job Arteta's done. Yes, he spent money, but all managers spend money. So for me, an Arsenal win, mate. I'm going to go 2-0 Arsenal. I think West Ham are very much focused on the game on Thursday.
Yeah, and there is a part of me that actually wants West Ham to go and get to that final at least and then see what happens. But I think they're good enough to get past Frankfurt, or maybe they're not. I mean, I haven't watched too much of Frankfurt this season. But I will go for a very, very tight Arsenal win. And again, this game is so important. And if Spurs fail really at home to do anything of note against Leicester, then Arsenal can really pull away. And then obviously they play each other as well in a couple of weeks too. So interesting game this. Really excited to watch it myself. And listen, it's going to be spicy as it always is between West Ham and Arsenal. Let us know in the comments how that one is going to go. Right, the last game we're going to be talking about, Man United versus Brentford. I believe this is on Monday night. Monday Night Football. Ronaldo has been involved in 24 goals in his last 18 Premier League games against promoted teams, 18 goals in those games and 6 assists. Since his first Premier League start for the club in March, no player has created more chances for Brentford than Eriksen, whilst the Bees are unbeaten in 6 games in which the Dane has started. So if he starts, Brentford do well. You've seen Ronaldo score last night, a lovely finish. I mean, yes, he's 37, but he's, again, scored over 20 goals in all comps this season. He's single-handedly bailed, alongside De Gea, single-handedly bailed United out time and time again this season. But then there's the other side of things, which says something like this. At home, United have been awful, really, and they've struggled against teams down there. Is this a game that Brentford come to Old Trafford with real hope? Let's not forget, they're on a great run themselves.
Yeah, I think they'll fancy themselves against anyone. In the run that I had, there was a point where they went on quite a barren run of form where you fear that they may get dragged into the relegation zone, but they've stuck with Frank, and Ivan Toney's refound his form. I think he's an excellent player, by the way. I've been very impressed with him this season. Not impressed with his comments in the outside, which
doesn't help himself, does he?
Does he? Landsy, I know. Like, it's, these are footballers and they've got to have their own lives and stuff. But just think if you read a little bit, because I also don't agree with shoving a camera in every footballer's face that you ever get to see. I don't agree with that at all. But he should know better. But United, it's just it's rotten to the core, isn't it? That club, there's so many problems. I remember as a younger Wolves fan, you'd fear United, and probably you just know that you're probably not going to get much. Whereas now, when we played them, I think we
won there this season, didn't you?
Yeah, we won, comfortably as well.
We won 5-0.
Yeah, well, there you go. There you have it. I mean, the golfing class between Liverpool and Man United now is as big as it's ever been. It's rotten to the core, and I think with Ten Hag coming in, it's already announced Rangnick's taking the Austrian national team job, I believe, and he's still going to be involved in the club. The players now know this manager's not going to be here next season. I don't really care. And you can see that within the performances. They were poor last night. So for this one, I think I'm going to go a bit of an upset. I'm going to say Man United 1, Brentford 0.
Do you know what? Great joke that.
Here we go.
RG
Yeah.
Bags has got it as well. Big upset, 2-1 United.
It's a tapping.
Jay
No, I
Holton,
think
4-0 to Brentford. Wow.
I think United will win. I think Ronaldo will score as well. He's like I said, is he part of the problem there? They have to play a certain way to get him into the team. He's tailored the way he plays now. He's not really on the shoulder, but he's one of the best poachers in world football now, isn't he? He just comes up with a goal when you need him. I think without Ronaldo's goals, I'd only be 10 points clear of the relegation zone.
Yeah.
But that means nothing because if he wasn't playing, not going to be playing with 10 men, are they? But I feel like it maybe has stunted the development of other players as well because they are desperate to shoehorn him into a spot. But he's keeps scoring goals, so you can't really argue with it.
Yeah, I mean, on Brentford's side, if you look at Eriksen, if he gets space in behind that kind of midfield, that gap between the midfielder and the defense, bro, he is creating a goal for Ivan Toney on Monday night. I would actually confidently say that Ivan Toney will score in this game because if you've got someone like Eriksen behind you feeding in these passes, all you've got to do is beat De Gea. I know that sounds quite daunting, to be fair, because De Gea is a great goalkeeper. But the defence is not there. The midfield don't want to fight. Pogba's off in the summer. Matic is off. Fred and McTominay have been injured. I mean, this game is won and lost in the midfield. And I do think at the minute, Brentford have a better midfield than United. You've just seen them win 4-1 away at Stamford Bridge.
I think Eriksen has really galvanised that team. He's added the quality that they were missing. I think their midfield was almost a bit industrial. And he's come in and added that real class and, that final ball that Ivan Toney's been able to feed off. Personally, don't think Eriksen will be there next season. I think he's almost used Brentford as a springboard, but they were user initiative enough to give him that platform. But I think he'll go back to Spurs. I really do.
Wow.
Because he's out of contract. There's no option for Brentford to extend that outside in terms of the current contract. So I think he'll have a pick of quite a few clubs.
Allier, Ivan Toney is a red AGT. He wants to beat United. Born Liverpool fan. That's nice to see. And if he carries on playing well, we might have a little purchase on that one there. But score prediction. Or did you give us yours?
1-0 United.
1-0 United. I'm gonna go with 2-1 United, but Ivan Toney to score for sure. Let us know in the comments what you think that is going to finish as. Lost for you to find. Unrelated topic. I like Matt's hair. It's like a hand-drawn sketch of an anime character.
That's a new one. Appreciate the comment.
Very new. Wow,
yeah, it's very niche.
That's sensational, mate. Let's have a look at this one. Gunnar Vettel. Erik Ten Hag has made United aware that he is not to be disturbed every 2 days before a game starting now until the end of the season. I'm not sure that's true, to be fair. But right, listen, what a show that's been. The Game Day preview show on DR Sports. Myself, AGT. We've had Matt Cooper from Talking Wolves on as well. If you don't know about this fella, get to know. He's been on DR Sports before and he'll be on it again. Talk to us about where we can find you, what other kind of content you're doing. What else is up, man?
Yes, so on Twitter, I am M Cooper Wrights, and my channel is Talking Wolves, which is at Talking Wolves across YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I've also got another YouTube channel, if I haven't got enough on, called Matt Cooper Bites. I'm on the hunt to find the best tandoori mixed grill in the West Midlands. Again, niche topic. AGT will be, yes. And there's quite a lot of them in the Midlands, so I'm working my way through them. And if you're interested to see what that is, go and check that out. That's Matt Cooper Bites. And thanks for having me on, Al. It's good to see you.
Of course, mate. Always great to see you. So we've got Matt Cooper Writes, we've got Matt Cooper Bites. You're covering a lot right now, big man. I love to see it. What's Elsa doing from Frozen here? Honestly,
let it go, mate. Let it go.
Great show. Hey, very good. Great show, boys. Fantastic show, boys. Goodbye, Carmino, as well. We'll see you next time. There you go. If you've missed any of the reviews as we've been live, go back, rewind, watch them again. And of course, we'll be back tomorrow for the Saturday football show. But before that, these two teams behind me, Newcastle versus Liverpool, myself versus Matty Renton. He's also got to do a forfeit, by the way, guys, as well, for losing the prediction battle show. So tune in for that, if anything. I didn't bring my dog food down because I thought that would be too nice. I really want him to eat something worse than that, to be honest. So guys, get your suggestions in the. I mean, it's probably already sorted, but get your suggestions in maybe for the next time as well. Myself, AGT, Matt Cooper. We're saying goodbye for now. We'll be back tomorrow. Take care. All the best. And get home safe if you're not at home.